actually really positive. Like my colleagues were all super nice and super welcoming. I think my first big event was an event that involved the then health minister, Khairi Jamaluddin, and it was during my internship period. And to be honest, it was a bit of a rough ride for me because this is like, oh my God, I'm new and I'm like in this huge event and suddenly I'm like talking about government protocols. I'm talking about, like sending out mass public relation, like PR, like press releases all over, to all my media friends. And it's like, it was so quick and it was like months of preparation. But yeah, it's been so fun. And I wouldn't change my career actually. Like right now, I think I'm happy where I am. And despite my negative first impression about how, agencies are perceived, I would say that I've been having a really good time where I am.
I remember my first job at my first company being extremely excited about what I'm about to do that day. But, despite all the energy that I have, doing the actual work is obviously very challenging. Even like for me who loves writing, sometimes that time I experienced like a writer's block just because I was like so nervous about writing my first release. Yeah, so
Right.
it's been like a lot of like a roller coaster ride for most, but yeah, those are the exciting moments that yeah eventually keep me going.
First day of a job back in 2020 at least. So it was like COVID and it was just like slowly getting better, but it was in that period where it was, oh, phase two, oh, phase three kind of thing. So I was introduced to a very form of PR. It was all digital, and it didn't help that a lot of my clients at the time were hospitality. Yeah, so media monitoring was intense, like crazy. But other than that, when I got in, I felt it was glamorous. Like, oh, I'm working with this hospitality brand. Oh, this fashion brand.
My first day of work, actually, I spent it at Dover Bakery because it was a day of tastings. So I was like, okay, so I'm not going to office, I'm going to the bakery instead. So I spent my whole day at a cafe meeting different influencers. So it was also my first time meeting these influencers. So, and I shadowed how my manager talked to the influencers and how she engages them in doing tastings. So I learned how it's actually not that formal when it
Yeah.
comes to tastings. It's very casual and really you're just chatting with them and catching up and as well as introducing what's new in the menu.
Well, one thing I'd like to commend Gen Z for is probably our authenticity and flair for creativity. Nowadays, I see a whole lot of individualism, and they want to broaden like how the communications industry functions as a whole. Even within industries like healthcare and pharmaceuticals, I'm noticing more companies and brands, adapting their approach to, connect with us, like their audiences, especially the younger people, because nowadays I think a lot of the people that are consuming are getting younger and younger. And, I think even you and I, we love looking at colorful photos. We love looking at GIFs and infographics, rather than reading like super long excerpts. Another thing that I love to commend Gen Z for is probably the advocacy for diversity and inclusion. We love companies and brands that reflect these values in their messaging, and it's just not enough to say that you're inclusive and that we accept everyone, but their campaigns have and should be sensitive and carefully thought out to cater to various cultural backgrounds and celebrate diversity to create personal relationships with their audiences. I also cannot mention Gen Z without social media. Our relationship with social media and influencers, like we grew up with this lifestyle, this multi-screen lifestyle, and it transformed the way a lot of campaigns are executed. And this is so different to the way that we used to do things back then. Like we leverage on influencers, our social media content, we make content based for different devices. So I think Gen Z can help brands to formulate different ways to effectively launch their campaigns.
We can bring like fresh perspectives. What I wish to eventually push is to actually help brands get out of their comfort zone, because us being the common man, being common Gen Zers outside of work, we know what the common person thinks. But also as someone who's in the industry, we also know what the brand wants, and we know how they can achieve it through to get through Gen Zs especially, because that's what we bring to the table.
We can give ideas, like any crazy, fresh ideas or whatever we see is trending, we can suggest to the clients. For them, they will have other things to consider. So I feel like it's actually a good um, combination because they will know what is safer.
But I think we can always blend it.
Yeah.
Like, Gen Zs, millennials, and boomers.
Yes.
And then it's just like a perfect puzzle after that. Like you get the crazy, you get the safe, you get the in-betweens of everything.
We have some kind of characteristic that makes us unique and different from like maybe our seniors and also like management teams. Since we grow up with internet and also technology, the way we approach media monitoring might slightly differ from the usual practices. I mean, in my team personally, we know the importance of managing like newspaper and also coverages, but sometimes we also dive deeper into the topic of our company by monitoring like social medias, as like TikTok, Twitter. I think I've been utilizing those platform a lot to understand more about the company. Sometimes it's not solely about work or finding out like the positive coverages or like negative coverages. Sometimes it's just I just want to see how like people were talking about the company and what kind of conversation they engage in relating to our company. And I think those have been the approaches that I try to take on throughout my role right now. And I'm thankful that it has been so far well received from my manager and the rest of my team.
I would allow more creativity, honestly. I know that I said that Gen Z is super creative already, but I want more. A lot of overseas brands have leverage on short form videos on TikTok. And it could be the most random things. I don't know whether you've watched the Duolingo TikTok lately, but it's so obscure. Like just a random bird could be standing in the middle of their office and it'll have hundreds and thousands of likes and comments. And it's crazy because you wouldn't even know why these things go viral. Like you wouldn't even know why it garners so much attention unless you have somebody that's already so in tune with these trends. And I think that's why it's so important to have like young, in tune people in your company, to tell you what works.
Like obviously it'll never, ever be a 9 to 5. But I think we can do little things to improve our daily life. Say, MedHead, for example, we're doing like a Med long weekend. So we actually do 4-day work week. We're transitioning right now. So right now it's every last Friday of the month. So on that particular week, we'll treat Thursday as our Fridays, and then we'll just shift our deadlines around and inform brands that we're working with, like, hey, we're not working this Friday, just to let you know, but we're available if there's emergencies. I used to get so much brain fog in my previous agencies when it was a 5-day work week, but right now, whenever I'm back from the long weekend, I'm just like, creative ideas. Let me get to work.
The additional day, we actually really use it for our personal life, like spend time with family or like just self-care, which I think is like really important.
Being in PR, you talk so much. And honestly, I know I'm talking more than Zoe, but I'm actually an introvert. But I'm being paid to be an extrovert. So like pick my battles, right?
Yeah.
For those who are introverts but paid to be extrovert, 4-day work week is the answer.
I think it is time for us to not only care about our objective and our agenda for our initiative, but also think about what's in it for the public who might, come across our past or came across our initiative, what kind of impact that we could bring to them, and still being genuine and sincere with our work at the same time. I think those kind of approach could be very valuable in the long run, because I believe that the public right now, they know what we're doing and they can evaluate what we're doing. So I think it is very important for us to see head to head with them, and also treat them with genuinity and also sincerity.